Imagine treating yourself to an eyelash and brow tint and ending up blind. In the 1930s, that's exactly what happened to one woman. Mrs. Hazel Faye Brown stopped by Bird's Beauty Shop before a PTA banquet given in her honor. There, she was persuaded to get a brow and lash tint with an eyelash beautifier known as Lash Lure. In the moments following her visit, her eyes began to sting with pain. 2 hours later, she could hardly see. For the next 2 months, Ms. Brown would suffer extreme pain and destruction of her eyeballs that would ultimately lead to her becoming totally blind forever, with no hope of recovery. And Mrs. Brown wasn't the only one. The Journal of the American Medical Association reported at least 17 similar incidents, and it's possible many more were not reported. What happened? The Lash Lure eye beautifier contained a chemical known to cause extreme allergic reactions in some people. The offending molecule? Paraphenylenediamine, also known as PPD, a hexagon-shaped ring with a nitrogen and 2 hydrogens attached to opposite ends. Why was a product like this on the market? Because in the 1930s, existing regulations like the 1906 Food and Drug Act provided little protection to consumers. Sure, the law prohibited contaminated and misbranded products, but it offered no specifics on how to enforce the law, and harmful cosmetics weren't even included. Worse yet, the FDA had to prove the sellers of these harmful products were being knowingly deceptive. Motivated by earlier cases similar to the Lash Lure tragedy, the FDR administration worked to reform the 1906 Food and Drug Act in hopes of providing better consumer protection. It seems so obvious to us now that being injured by your makeup is a problem. But in 1933, the administration had to communicate to the public and Congress why these new protections were necessary. They assembled an exhibit of potentially dangerous products that was displayed at the 1933 Chicago World Fair. It included products like CORNEAL, a permanent hair removal cream that used thallium acetate, an ingredient in rat poison, and Gross Oriental cream, which caused bluish-black gums and loss of teeth, thanks to mercury compounds, and of course, Lash Lure. The display was shocking enough that one journalist dubbed it the American Chamber of Horrors. The display awoke the public consciousness and had the support of many women's groups, including the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt herself. Unfortunately, the first legislative attempts to strengthen consumer protections were a disaster. They were viciously opposed by industry, trade groups, and advertisers in a 5-year legislative battle that didn't end until 1938, when 100 people, mostly children, died after taking a drug called sulfanilamide. They were poisoned by diethylene glycol, a toxic liquid with a sweet taste. Only then did the Federal Drug and Cosmetic Act of 1938 pass into a law. It tightened the regulations on food and drugs, and cosmetics were regulated for the first time. Lash Lure was the first product confiscated once the act was passed, and the FDA issued a statement saying PPD in eyelash tints was considered contamination, a rule the FDA still adheres to this day. So happy ending or all safe, right? Maybe, maybe not. Watch my next video to find out more.